Welcome to Across the Pitch. Let's get into it. Today we'll talk about Barcelona Valencia and Liverpool's match against Spurs. Okay, Valencia versus Barcelona should now be considered a crime. And I'm not even joking here, folks. We need to file this under soccer brutality, because what Barcelona is doing to Valencia is just straight up savage. We're talking 7-1 and 5-0 victories. Those aren't soccer scores, those are basketball numbers. Barcelona's out here playing like they've got a personal vendetta against Valencia's goal net. And look, I get it. Flick's got his team playing like they're trying to make up for all those rough post-Messi seasons in one go. But come on, show a little mercy. Valencia's already dead. You know that meme where the guy's poking something with a stick saying, "Come on, do something"? That's Valencia's defense right now. What makes this even more brutal is that these weren't just one-off games. This is becoming a pattern, like Barcelona's circled Valencia on their calendar and written Destruction Day next to it. At this point, when these two teams meet, it's less of a soccer match and more of a public execution. You almost want to call Amnesty International or something, because this has got to violate some kind of human rights convention. I mean, I know in sports you're supposed to play to win, but Barcelona's taking this to a whole new level. They're playing like Valencia stole their lunch money in elementary school, and they're still holding that grudge. Valencia were so poor. Jesus Christ. This wasn't just a bad day at the office. This was like showing up to work and accidentally setting your desk on fire. And you know things are brutal when even the ref is feeling sympathetic. Man looked at his watch at 90 minutes and said, "Nah, I've seen enough crimes for one day." Didn't even add stoppage time. That's the soccer equivalent of a mercy rule. And let's talk about that game plan, if you can even call it that. Someone must have told Valencia, "Hey, just keep it tight for the first 15 minutes and you'll be fine." Well, that aged like milk in the sun, because Barcelona scored in the third minute. Talk about throwing the game plan out the window. They didn't even have time to warm up the shredder. 4 goals in 30 minutes? That's not a soccer match, that's a speed run. Barcelona out here playing like they've got dinner reservations they can't miss. Valencia's defense was so wide open, you could have driven a bus through it. Actually, scratch that. You could have driven the entire Barcelona team bus through it. And they basically did. The scariest part? Barcelona made it look easy. They were out there playing like it was a casual training session, while Valencia looked like they were trying to solve advanced calculus while running. I haven't seen a team this lost since the last time Valencia played Barcelona, which was 10 days ago. And can we talk about Ferran Torres for a minute? My word. Man dropped a hat trick in 30 minutes like he was playing FIFA on amateur mode. You could see him fighting that celebration urge. Because Valencia's his old club. But imagine having to keep a straight face after embarrassing your ex-team like that. That's like running into your ex at a party and pretending you didn't just win the lottery. The midfield? Pedri and De Jong were conducting a masterclass out there. They controlled that midfield like they had it on a remote control. They weren't just passing the ball around. They were giving Valencia players dizzy spells trying to keep up. And let's appreciate Koundé for a second. This man has completely transformed into this world-class right back, and it wasn't even his natural position. That's like discovering you're actually better at writing with your left hand after using your right all your life. Xavi deserves some credit here for convincing Koundé to play right back. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. Valencia apparently played their rotation side because they've got this crucial relegation battle coming up on the weekend. So let me get this straight. Their logic was, hey, let's sacrifice this game because we need to focus on staying in the league? And then both their first team and second team get absolutely demolished? 7-1 and 5-0? So what you're telling me is their B team only conceded 5 while the A team let in 7. Make it make sense. That's like saying your backup car runs better than your main one. At this point, Valencia might want to consider playing their youth team, because apparently the fewer minutes you've played professional football, the better you do against Barcelona. This is the kind of decision-making that makes you wonder if they're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, except they're actually playing neither and just moving pieces randomly around the board. Listen, These Copa del Rey semifinals are shaping up to be absolute fire. We've got Atletico, Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Sociedad. But here's the real spice. Who wants it more? Because Atletico just went and put 5 past Sevilla like they were playing against training cones. So don't sleep on Simeone's boys. And look, I'm just going to say what everyone's thinking. Barcelona versus Real Madrid right now would be like scheduling another crime scene. Madrid's defense is held together with band-aids and positive thinking at this point. At least Real Sociedad knows how to park a bus and make Barcelona work for it. That's why Barcelona vs Sociedad and Atletico v Madrid would be the dream draw. Plus, this weekend's Madrid derby is basically going to be a preview of what Atletico would do to Real if they meet in the Copa. Consider it a trailer for the main event. But can we take a moment to appreciate what Flick has done with this Barcelona team? Because this isn't just good coaching, this is pure football alchemy. He's turned Barcelona into this perfect storm of pass masters and space invaders. You've got these incredibly intelligent passers of the ball, and then you've got forwards making runs that would make an Olympic sprinter jealous. It's like watching a chess match where all the pieces can run a 4.3 40-yard dash. And that backline? My word. That offside trap was so precise, the linesman's arm probably needs ice treatment after the match. Every time Valencia tried to play forward, it was like they were running into an invisible wall. Offside, offside, offside. It was more predictable than a romantic comedy ending. The only time Valencia got through, it was probably because Barcelona's defenders got bored and wanted to give the linesman something different to do. Speaking of Valencia, let's give some props to Sadiq. Man was fighting a lone battle out there, like he was the last warrior standing in a battlefield. Even the Barcelona fans had to respect that hustle. But those Valencia fans? Man, that was tough to watch. Imagine packing out your stadium, bringing all that energy, only to watch your team concede in the 3rd minute like they were trying to set a new record for fastest capitulation. By minute 30, it was like watching a mass exodus. When your own fans start waving white handkerchiefs, you know it's bad. That's not just surrendering, that's filing for emotional bankruptcy. Barcelona have become this unstoppable force when they click. It's like watching a highlight reel in real time. La Liga might need to put a parental advisory warning on these Barcelona v Valencia matches because what we're witnessing isn't just football anymore. It's systematic destruction. And you know what's wild? La Liga has actually become more competitive when we least expected it. It's like the league saw all these super teams forming and said, you know what? Let's make this interesting. But maybe, just maybe, we need to create some kind of mercy rule for when Barcelona faces Valencia, or at least give Valencia a head start, like in those charity matches where they let the kids score first. Because at this point, it's not even fair anymore. It's like bringing a calculator to a math fight. I mean, what's there to even break down when the game was basically done and dusted by minute 23? 5 goals. And in the second half, Barcelona just went, all right, job done, and started treating the rest of the match like a casual training session, passing the ball around like they were trying not to embarrass Valencia any further. Though at that point, what's a few more goals between friends? And here's the real head-scratcher. Flick keeping Yamal out there for the full 90. Like, come on, coach, we get it. The kid's incredible, but this was the perfect chance to bubble wrap your wonder boy and give some minutes to Pablo Torre or Pau Victor. When you're 5-0 up and basically playing keep ball, maybe that's the time to let your wonder kid put his feet up? But then again, who am I to question the man who's turned Barcelona from a sinking ship into this absolute wrecking ball of a team? The wildest part? This wasn't even Barcelona's A team. This was their rotation side doing this kind of damage. That's like sending your backup singers to a concert and they end up performing better than the main act. It's almost disrespectful how good they were, and they weren't even trying their hardest. The game got so comfortable, you could have sworn Barcelona's players were out there thinking, should we score more? Nah, let's just pass it around. We don't want to make the highlights too long. Valencia just laid down, and Barcelona didn't even have the courtesy to pretend it was a contest. It was like watching someone play FIFA with the difficulty set to amateur. Except even FIFA has a mercy rule. Okay, enough about Barcelona. Let's talk about Liverpool and Spurs. Man, remember when we all thought this would be a tight contest? When we were all buying into that Ange magic and thinking, hey, maybe Spurs could sneak this one and finally end that trophy drought? Yeah, about that. Going to Anfield with a 1-0 lead should have been tough, but 4-0? That's not just a defeat, that's a public humiliation. Those first 15 minutes were like watching someone try to hold back a tsunami with an umbrella. Spurs tried to sit back and weather the storm, but Liverpool were like a wrecking ball at a papier-mâché convention. Destruction was inevitable. And that Spurs attack? More toothless than a newborn baby. But the defense? Oh boy. You know how Barcelona's high line was like a perfectly choreographed dance today? Well, Spurs tried to do the same thing and got opened up more times than a 24-hour convenience store. They were playing a high line like they'd learned it from watching YouTube tutorials on 2x speed. All the theory, none of the execution. For Spurs to be playing like this, relegation isn't just a whispered fear anymore. It's starting to look like a real possibility. It's like they're trying to speed run their way to the championship. And to the Spurs fans, I get it. I really do. You want to believe. You want to keep that faith alive. But like they say, it's the hope that kills you. Watching Spurs right now is like watching someone try to build a sandcastle while the tide's coming in. You know how it's going to end, but you can't look away. Liverpool didn't just show how to play a semifinal. They put on a masterclass in how to absolutely dominate one. When we talk about teams stepping up in big moments, this is exactly what we mean. They're not just the best team in the world right now. They're making it look easy, like they're playing a different sport altogether. From defense to midfield to attack, they're moving like a well-oiled machine that someone accidentally set to maximum speed. Watching them right now is like watching peak Predator hours on National Geographic. They're just that ruthless. And Tottenham? Man, I'm embarrassing myself even admitting I thought they might do something in this match. Coming in with that 1-0 lead from the first leg feels like ancient history now, like finding $5 in your pocket and thinking you're rich. How did they even win that first leg? It's like they used up all their luck in one go. That Liverpool press? It was like watching a python slowly squeeze its prey, methodical, relentless, and absolutely suffocating. Tottenham couldn't handle it. They were running around like kids trying to catch smoke with their bare hands, just completely helpless. 4-0. 4-0. And the stats? 0 shots on target, 0 big chances. Spurs showed up with all the attacking threat of a rubber duck in a boxing match. They didn't even try to make it interesting. It's like they walked into Anfield wearing blindfolds and hoping for the best. At this point, saying Spurs need to try harder is like telling a fish to climb a tree. They look completely lost out there. And watching them attempt to play out from the back under that Liverpool press was like watching someone try to solve a Rubik's Cube in a hurricane. Technically possible, but absolutely not happening today. The way Spurs were giving away the ball, it was like watching someone try to juggle with greased bowling pins. 2 passes, 2. And boom, possession lost. Their midfield had all the stability of a house of cards in a wind tunnel. And Liverpool? They were just licking their lips every time Spurs tried to play out. And that Liverpool ball progression, my word, it was like watching lightning strike. 1 second they're collecting a loose pass, the next they're breathing down the goalkeeper's neck. Bang, bang, bang. 3 passes, and they're in your box looking at the whites of your keeper's eyes. They move the ball so fast, it's like they've got it on a zipline straight to the final third. Poor Mathis Tell, though. Talk about being thrown into the deep end wearing concrete shoes. How's the kid supposed to show what he can do when the ball's about as accessible to him as water in a desert? It's like being hired as a chef and then finding out the kitchen's got no ingredients. Just standing up there watching Liverpool play keep ball with his teammates. Gravenberch in that midfield was like a human vacuum cleaner. Anything Spurs tried to do just got sucked up and recycled into another Liverpool attack. And when you've got Szoboszlai and Gakpo out there playing like they're auditioning for the WWE with their physicality, what can you do? Nunez was having one of those days where everything clicked. The kind of performance that makes you forget all those misses from last month. But here's the real kicker. Even if by some miracle Spurs managed to break through that press, they had to face Van Dijk and Konate. That's like escaping a lion only to run into a tiger. Connor Bradley out there playing like he's been at Anfield for a decade, not making his breakthrough season. It was mission impossible for Spurs, except Tom Cruise wasn't coming to save them. Once that first goal went in, it was like watching someone try to climb Everest in flip-flops. Technically possible, but absolutely not happening today. And Salah? Just another day at the office for him. Goal and assist, like he's checking items off his weekly shopping list. Man's so consistent, he makes a Swiss watch look unreliable. Liverpool weren't just the better team, they were playing a different sport out there. While Spurs were trying to figure out how to walk, Liverpool were doing parkour around them. This wasn't just a victory, this was a statement. Liverpool are back to being that team that makes good teams look average and average teams look like they've forgotten how to play football. Villa must be watching this Spurs performance with their knives and forks ready, because if Spurs serve up anything like this again, it's going to be another buffet. It's not just that they were bad, it's that they made bad look good. In a sea of mediocrity, at least Kulusevski and Danso showed up. They were like two people actually swimming while the rest of the team was drowning. But two decent performances out of 11? That's like bringing a water pistol to a firefight. But let's talk about Connor Bradley, because this kid deserves the spotlight. Everyone's raving about the big names, but Bradley? He put on a masterclass in how to play right back. Those stats are ridiculous. 8 out of 10 duels won? Man was out there treating attackers like they were trying to get past a brick wall. 3 out of 4 dribbles completed? That's not just a defender, that's a Swiss Army knife of a player. The beautiful thing about Bradley's performance is that it wasn't just about the numbers. The way he seamlessly filled that right back role, it's like he's been studying Trent Alexander-Arnold's game tapes on repeat. If Trent does end up leaving, Liverpool might already have their solution right there. 5 recoveries and 3 chances created? That's not a right-back performance. That's a right-back masterclass. And that assist? Cherry on top of a cake that was already pretty spectacular. The kid's not just playing the position, he's redefining it. What else do you want from your right-back? At this point, the only thing he didn't do was score. And honestly, the way he was playing, you wouldn't have been surprised if he did. Liverpool didn't just kill Spurs. They wrote the obituary, arranged the funeral, and carved the tombstone. Made them look so mediocre, you'd forget Spurs were actually supposed to be one of the better teams in England. It was the definition of men versus boys out there, like watching a professional team play against their U18s. For 90 straight minutes, Liverpool were like a hurricane that refused to downgrade to a tropical storm. Full gas, no brakes, just pure domination. Spurs came in with their game plan, and Liverpool took that plan, crumpled it up, and used it for target practice. It's like Spurs brought their chess strategy to a boxing match, completely useless once the first punch landed. And Klinsky? Poor guy was out there looking like the last defender at the Alamo, save after save after save, but the attacks just kept coming. It was like trying to plug holes in a sinking ship while someone's drilling new ones. The man deserved hazard pay for this performance, and he still conceded 4. This is exactly what you want to see from one of the world's best teams. Relentless, ruthless, and absolutely refusing to take their foot off the gas. For the Spurs fans? Well, sometimes you just have to tip your cap and admit you got completely outclassed. This wasn't just a defeat. This was a reminder of just how far they still have to go. Liverpool didn't just win. They made a statement. And that statement was written in bold, underlined, and highlighted for good measure. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. This has been Across the Pitch. Over and out.